In 1952, the United States Army created Special Forces, later known as the Green Berets, in response to a new kind of threat emerging after World War II. This wasn't about tanks rolling across borders or massive naval battles. This was ideological war, fought through proxy forces, insurgencies, and resistance movements, hiding in jungles and mountains. Unlike conventional troops trained to hold territory or win battles outright, the Green Berets were built for unconventional warfare. Their job is to operate deep behind enemy lines to organize, train, and lead local forces against enemies the US couldn't openly fight. The core of the Green Berets is the 12-man Operational Detachment Alpha, or ODA. This team structure was designed so every member has a critical specialty: weapons, engineering, medicine, communications, intelligence, while also being cross-trained to step into another role if casualties occur. A single team is capable of functioning independently for months without support, deep in hostile territory. Language and cultural training are absolutely central to their identity. Green Berets are assigned regional focus areas: the Middle East, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and often spend years learning not just the language, but how to operate inside foreign societies. Their effectiveness depends on the trust and influence they build among local populations. They were crucial in Afghanistan after 2001. Green Beret units working with local fighters and direct air power helped collapse the Taliban regime in weeks. The 75th Ranger Regiment represents the most aggressive and direct edge of US Special Operations. While other units work quietly in the shadows, Rangers are elite light infantry built for one thing: direct action. Airfield seizures, high-risk raids, missions where speed and overwhelming violence of action determine success. Unlike many special operations units that operate in small teams, Rangers are designed to fight at platoon, company, and even battalion scale, allowing them to hit targets that larger conventional forces can't reach quickly enough. Their modern structure emerged after Vietnam, shaped by the brutal lesson that the US needed a force that could deploy anywhere in the world within hours and start fighting immediately. Rangers maintain constant readiness, rotating through combat deployments at a tempo few other units can sustain. Their training emphasizes relentless discipline, endless repetition, and flawless execution under extreme stress. Rangers are often among the first US troops on the ground in major conflicts, establishing footholds for follow-on forces. Intelligence, surveillance, strike, and exploitation, the bread and butter for Rangers. Formed in 1977, Delta Force was created to give the United States a dedicated counterterrorism and hostage rescue capability after repeated global terror incidents exposed major gaps in US readiness. Unlike conventional units, Delta operates under extreme secrecy and highly classified direct action operations that the US government will never acknowledge. Selection for Delta is intentionally brutal. Weeks of mental and physical torture designed to eliminate anyone who cannot operate under prolonged stress, uncertainty, and physical exhaustion. Those who pass undergo continuous training focused on close quarters combat, precision shooting, and rapid decision-making in situations where a single mistake can have catastrophic political consequences on the world stage. Delta Force exists for scenarios where failure is literally not an option. Situations involving American hostages, high-value terrorist targets, or operations where national credibility is on the line. Another mention worth noting is that Delta frequently operates in joint task forces with intelligence agencies like the CIA, blurring the line between military operations and clandestine intelligence work in ways most people never see and will never know about. Joint Special Operations Command, or JSOC, was created after the catastrophic failure of Operation Eagle Claw in 1980. The aborted attempt to rescue American hostages in Iran that ended with helicopters crashing in the desert and 8 American servicemen dead. That failure revealed a critical problem. The US had elite units, but they were operating in isolation, without unified command or integrated planning. Different branches, different equipment, different communication systems. It was a recipe for disaster. JSOC exists to fix that problem. It serves as the coordination and command structure for the most elite special mission units in the US military: Delta Force, DEVGRU, the 75th Rangers, the 106th SAW, and others, synchronizing intelligence, aviation, logistics, and ground forces into a single operational machine. JSOC fundamentally changed how counterterrorism wars are fought. Instead of large-scale invasions and conventional battles, it enabled persistent global manhunting operations, tracking, targeting, and dismantling enemy leadership through continuous pressure rather than decisive battles. Established in 1962, the Navy SEALs were designed for operations across sea, air, and land, hence the name, with a heavy emphasis on maritime environments. Their origins trace back to World War II naval commandos who cleared beach obstacles under fire, but their modern role expanded rapidly during the Cold War and Vietnam, evolving into one of the most recognized special operations forces in the world. SEALs specialize in direct action, special reconnaissance, and maritime operations such as coastal raids, underwater demolitions, and shipboarding. Their training pipeline includes the infamous BUDS, Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training, which is specifically designed to test endurance, stress tolerance, and teamwork under constant physical and mental discomfort. Hell Week alone eliminates the majority of candidates. While public perception often paints SEALs as lone wolf operators, the reality is that real missions rely on disciplined team execution and tight integration with intelligence and aviation assets. Another mention here is how SEAL operations became central to high-profile counterterrorism missions during the War on Terror, including the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, solidifying their reputation while drastically increasing their operational tempo to levels never seen before. Often referred to publicly as SEAL Team 6, DEVGRU is the Navy's top-tier special mission unit, created specifically for counterterrorism and hostage rescue. Like Delta Force, DEVGRU operates under JSOC and conducts missions that are rarely, if ever, acknowledged publicly. These are the SEALs that other SEALs look up to. DEVGRU was originally established in 1980 to respond to maritime terrorism threats, hijacked ships, oil platforms, that sort of thing, but evolved into a global direct action force capable of operating in any environment. Desert, Arctic, urban, jungle, doesn't matter. Training emphasizes precision, adaptability, and the ability to operate in politically sensitive situations where exposure alone could trigger international consequences or destroy diplomatic relationships. Another important mention is that DEVGRU functions as both an operational unit and a testing ground for new tactics, equipment, and techniques. The gear, methods, and technologies they develop and refine eventually filter down to conventional SEALs and other special operations units, meaning their influence extends far beyond the classified missions they directly conduct. Special operations do not work without aviation, and the unit built to solve that problem is the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, known as the Night Stalkers. Formed in the early 1980s in the aftermath of Operation Eagle Claw, the regiment specializes in flying special operations forces into and out of denied territory, often at night, at extremely low altitude, and under enemy fire. Their pilots train extensively in terrain following flight, advanced night vision operations, and rapid insertions and extractions in conditions where conventional aviation would be too slow, too loud, or too visible. Flying helicopters at treetop level in complete darkness, navigating by instruments and night vision goggles, often in mountainous terrain or dense urban environments, are things the Night Stalkers would do. The regiment operates heavily modified helicopters, MH-60 Blackhawks, MH-47 Chinooks, and others, specifically designed for special operations missions with advanced avionics, defense systems, and firepower. Their ability to deliver forces precisely and quietly, often inserting teams within meters of their target, often determines whether an operation succeeds or fails before the first shot is ever fired. The Marine Raiders, officially part of Marine Forces Special Operations Command, or MARSOC, were established in 2006, making them one of the newest components of US Special Operations. For decades, the Marine Corps resisted joining the Special Operations community, arguing that every Marine was already an elite warrior. But the demands of modern asymmetric warfare in Iraq and Afghanistan forced a change. Marine Raiders conduct direct action, special reconnaissance, and foreign internal defense, training partner forces in unstable regions, combining traditional Marine infantry culture with modern special operations doctrine. They operate in small teams, often embedded with partner forces in remote locations or operating in politically sensitive regions where a conventional Marine presence would be inappropriate.